Okay, so I think we're going to get started here. Welcome everybody. My name is Zara and I'm with Spinal Cord Injury Alberta. I will be your facilitator for today. Today's topic is Let's Talk Employment. Just a brief description about what Alberta SCILS is for new members. The Alberta Spinal Cord Injury Community of Interactive Learning Series is a monthly webinar series supported by Praxis and led by representatives from Alberta Health Services throughout the province and SCA Alberta. This includes people with lived experience as well as people with non-lived experience and family members. The targeted audience is composed of people with SCI, family members, and service providers involved in their lives. Alberta SCILS will improve audiences' knowledge and empowerment through creating a sense of community, changing perceptions on disability, and improving social connectedness. Today, I'd like to introduce you to Cal Sheila from Calgary Alternative Employment Services. He is a diversity and accessibility consultant, as well as Bean, who is the co-founder and executive director for Paralysis Recovery Center. Just a reminder that the rehabilitation advice line is available 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And this includes anybody that needs to talk to a physician about their day-to-day activities or any affected concerns that they have throughout their daily lives. A short disclaimer, the information contained in these webinars and related materials is not a substitute for professional and medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please contact your medical practitioners for more information and to see what is right for you. This webinar is being recorded and will be made publicly accessible. A few housekeeping rules. Everyone will be muted. There will be a short presentation followed by discussion, and everyone is invited to share their views and opinions. Please feel free to turn off your camera at the moment, or you can still leave it on. There is a chat box for any questions that come up throughout the presentation, which we'll be more than happy to answer once we've concluded the presentation. There will be one poll at the end of the presentation as well. And the webinar again is recorded for future views. I would now like to introduce you to Cal Sheila from Calgary Alternative Employment Services. Take it away, Cal.
Great, thanks. Thought what I start to do, or would like to start today and stuff, is just a brief bio myself kind of thing to show where I've kind of my journey and stuff from my onset of my injury and stuff to where I am today. So with that stuff, I think the history of stuff is back in 1975 at the age of 17, I broke my neck, suffered a spinal cord injury as a result of inner tubing. There's sliding down hills in wintertime on inner tubes from either trucks or tires. Fell off the inner tube and stuff and ended up being 3, 4, 5, 6 incomplete. In addition to that and stuff, in 2009, I actually experienced a second spinal cord injury. Still, the cause of that is still unknown kind of thing, but it's caused me to break my 7th vertebrae, which resulted in a little bit more loss of function, which again is ended up being just another challenging learning opportunity that I had to deal with. Prior to my accident and stuff, I was really independent, athletic individual. I kind of loved hard work. So about 46 years ago, stuff when my life did change, I started saying that I had my injury. Seemed like such an innocent and fun-filled thing that I'd like inner tubing. Just an instant transformed into a new and frightening kind of a world for myself. You know, many uncertainties and challenges, and including the big one, employment, you know, what I was going to do for the rest of my life. You know, what plans or life direction I may have had at that time seemed to change in the blink of an eye. So over the years and stuff, I've actually had a lot of good mentors and you know, co-workers and supported my life and stuff that have kind of encouraged me to move on with different things that I need to do. So I spent about 17 months in the hospital when I first had my injury, which was good and bad. It seems like a really long time, but back then and stuff, it was really it's really beneficial and stuff in that we really got to know our, you know, the people in the hospital. We got time to get our stuff together as to what we really wanted to do It didn't seem, I mean, as frightening as it is to get a spinal cord injury, it seemed a little less frightening when you had that length of time to deal with compared to what it is nowadays, where you're kind of pumped in and out in 4 to 6 months in your rehab process. So it gave us time to think about where you're going to live, what jobs you're going to change your careers, those type of things, if you have to change careers. And so that was the good and the bad part. Also stuff I probably spent about 18 years in total of those 46 and stuff, working for both the Canadian Paraplegic Association and more recently with Spinal Cord Injury Alberta. I did everything from back in the early days. There wasn't really any jobs. You know, I had to finish schooling and stuff through correspondence because nothing was accessible back in 1975. So I kind of been able to see the development stuff of things that have gone on both city-wise with the built environment, with attitudes, with opportunities that are available. But as I was saying and stuff, when I started out with CPA and stuff, the only jobs that were available in that time were selling car raffle tickets for fundraisers for the CPA, doing some telephone marketing, did some research stuff with CPA as well. I did a lengthy stint with CPA and stuff as a recreation coordinator, ran an integrated rec program down here, business partnership between CPA and at that time and the city of Calgary, which was a lot of fun. Did some fun development, community liaison development, and then the last that I did with them was the office manager. So I did have, through one of my positions in the earlier days as a youth counselor, I had a really good mentor that encouraged me to go back to school. And I was able to get my degree as a rehab practitioner and stuff as well, which kind of led me on the path that I'm on. I'm currently the diversity and accessibility consultant with Calgary Alternative Employment Services, which actually is one of our programs stuff for our parent organization, which is Calgary Alternative Services as well. And I do sit on a number of different committees here in the city. I chair the City of Calgary's Access Design Committee, also chair the City of Calgary's the Police Department's Diversity Committee on Disability, sit on the Calgary Airport Authority's Access Committee as well. And then I also chair the Disability and Employment Awareness Month Committee here in the city as well. So there's so many opportunities out there now for people who have spinal cord injuries or other mobility related disabilities and stuff as well, that it's not like in the earlier days, but the opportunities are just limitless nowadays as to what people can get into. So if you like, I'm going to go more into the program that we run. And so if you want to go to the next slide. So CASE, we've been around since about 1988 and stuff as well, but we offer individual support to job seekers who help them overcome barriers and improve their employability. And we want to empower you as a job seeker or supported counselor to find your ideal job and gain good skills along the way. You get to work with teams whose main focus is to understand your needs and goals and to help you achieve success in the workplace. And we're really focused on real employment, real wages, not time limited, and no prerequisite activities and classes. We usually serve about 130 people a year. That's kind of combined between PDD funding, which is personal development with disabilities, as well as Service Canada, which is more along the lines any type of disability can fall within that as well. We have had a number of individuals from SCILS, Spinal Cord Injury Alberta, come into our program and go through the service that we offer as towards their career choice. Next slide. There's 3 phases for our program. The first phase and stuff is more along the lines of self-discovery and career exploration. So the first person that you'll get to see, other than the intake coordinator when you come in, he is actually a career consultant who will support you identify your job choices and assisting in preparing for your job search. So some of the things that you'll go through while you're doing self-discovery and that career exploration is assessing what your strengths, abilities, interests, and values are. Help with your resume development, your basic job search techniques, your presentations and interview skills, and helping you identify any occupational profiles you might want to look at. Maybe going through some job tours that be out in the actual workplace, job shadows, which is kind of similar to a mentorability program that we'll go through later in the program, and any information or volunteerism stuff that you might need. Next slide. You'll also be invited to attend a few learning circles that we have. These are all done through Zoom right at the present time, but as things open up again and stuff, and clients start coming back to our offices, there'll probably be a little bit more in the workplace as well. And then you'll get a chance to know yourself, really start to identify your skills and interests. We offer what we call a career cafe and stuff as well, where what we do is we get the number of people who are on Zoom, and we'll actually do it through groups who have similar career interests and stuff as well. We'll help them explore different types of industries, what might pique their interest. You also get to attend a number of the different workshops that we have going through on interviewing, the self-disclosure of your disability, resume development, those type of things as well. And this could actually take up to about 3 months. It could be longer, it could be shorter and stuff, but usually the average is around 3 months as well. Next slide. Phase 2 is more along the lines of job search. So at this phase and stuff, you'll leave your career consultant, you move into more of a diversity engagement consultant. Their main goal is to facilitate job search, interview, and hiring process for yourself. So they'll be actually with you and stuff. They could either go to the interviews with you, without you. They'll be there to support you all along the way. Whatever your needs are and stuff, the diversity engagement consultant is there to actually help you work through that process as you move along through your job search. Next one. And then again in phase 3, this is where you're going to go back to working with your career consultant as well, because this is actually where you've already been placed or found a job and stuff in your career choice. And they're going to be there and stuff to support you and the employer and stuff on any needs that might need to come up. So they're really and stuff really big on retention, making sure that you actually feel comfortable, the employer feels comfortable, and that you have that good working relationship within your workplace. Again, our programs go Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. You'll need to commit to at least 4 hours a week and stuff with meeting either your career consultant or your diversity and engagement consultant as well. So, and we also actually and usually end our weeks right now on the Zoom with a session that we call Click and Connect, and it's more along the lines of a real fun activity. Nothing serious. We get into doing some presentations, some breakout rooms, and just generally have a lot of fun and stuff to end the week off. Next slide. Another program that we're doing as well is, and this one that I'm mostly concerned with for the present time, it's called Mentorability. And actually, if you go to the next slide, Mentorability is run through a national organization called CASE. And it's an organization that's United National Voice to create positive change in the workplace. And together we improve the inclusion as well as economic considerations for Canadians with disabilities. And our members have supported employment specialists and stuff across the whole country. So actually here at Mentorability and stuff, we're actually have 2 hubs in Alberta because we're so large of a province. We have one person that's in Edmonton that does from Red Deer North. And then I actually coordinate everything from Red Deer South. Next slide. So like I said, Mentorability is a national program, and it's designed to help job seekers with disability employers and job seekers through education and awareness. Next. when we're talking about education and awareness stuff as well, we're used to using the mentability as really as a part of their career exploration process. So it could be for individuals who, let's say, are trying to return to work for the first time, so maybe at work but want to explore other career fields. What we're really doing with the program and stuff is we're actually not looking for paid employment through that program. We're just allowing individuals to go in there and experience different types of jobs that they might be interested in. So for instance, if somebody wanted to find out what it'd be like to be an accountant in an oil and gas industry, my responsibility would be to make that network happen and to allow that person to go either to do something as simple as a 1 hour Zoom meeting all the way up to half day, 1 day kind of a mentorship opportunity where that person can go in there and actually, as you look at the faces that we've got here, it'll allow that person to go in and actually meet that manager, supervisor, maybe be even interviewed, get some feedback on their resumes, their interviewing skills. Then have a chance to actually do a tour of the work site. Phase 3 would be the job shadowing component. So that could be anything that's hands-on. It could be actually maybe even watching in certain cases. It all depends upon what the position is, maybe what some of the hazards in the job are, those type of things as well. And then finally, phase 4 would be the evaluation. So it'll be allowing that person to go in there and ask, what education do I need? What's the day-to-day activities like in this position? And the employer would also have a chance to ask that person about their disability, so they could say, you know, what do we need to do as a company and stuff, or as an employer to maybe accommodate somebody with your needs, those type of things. So it's more along the lines of 50-50 exchange of information. At the end of the day, that person, whether they're saying that's a career I want to pursue further, or no, it's not liking anything I expected, and they're going to move on to something else. Next slide, or is that my last slide? Yep, that was my last slide. Besides doing all the stuff that I worked for within corporations, whether it be over my career, I've worked with CIBC, Bank of Montreal, you know, CP Rail, and various HR departments, as well as nonprofits and stuff as well, and actually entrepreneurial pursuits. But I do run my own company as well outside this, where I did do a lot of really specific skills training opportunities for people back in the late 90s, early 2000s. But now we're doing mostly disability awareness training and barrier-free audits. So with, you know, besides the paid employment that I'm doing, I also run my own company, Spectre Alternative Solutions. And I thought that might be a good lead in for our next excellent presentation. And that'll turn it over to you, Boone.
Thank you, Cal, and for the wonderful presentation as well. If you guys want to know more about CAS, the website will be posted in the chat box momentarily. Take it away, Bean.
Thank you. Thanks, Cal. That was a lot of great information and stuff that I didn't really know about before meeting you. But I'm glad that employment services are available for people living in Calgary. My name is Dean, and I'm going to talk to you a bit about my journey of how I went from being an X-ray tech and makeup artist to now a business owner. So that's what I was before my injury. I was an X-ray technologist. And at the time I was working at a clinic as a supervisor for the X-ray portion of that clinic. And I was also a makeup artist. And so that was kind of freelance and just kind of on the side. When I was paralyzed, which was 9 years ago, actually 9 years this week, which is kind of crazy. I really had no idea what my future was going to look like. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to think. And luckily I was in the position where I was on short-term disability and then long-term disability. So I really didn't have to worry about what my career was going to look like right from the very get-go. But that was a concern that I had for sure, as I didn't know, you know, going from being fully independent to being fully dependent on other people. There's a lot of questions that go through your mind and a lot of thoughts, and employment was definitely one of them. But in the beginning, I had put all of my effort, everything into my recovery, because I knew that was really, really important to start as fast as I can. and to really go as gung-ho as I possibly can. So with my insurance company, who was providing my short-term and long-term disability, they told me I should go for a vocational assessment. And that's basically where they test you. So they test your English, your math, basically what kind of education level you have. And then based off of those responses, they will put together a list of potential employment opportunities that you would be well suited for. So after doing the vocational assessment, they basically told me that I'm educated and smart and should be able to get a job and hold it, which I agreed. But I wasn't too happy with what they offered me. So they had said I could be a 911 operator or a medical transcriptionist or bus dispatcher. And this one made me really mad, to be a telemarketer. And so, you know, I went from being a healthcare provider who was making very good money to the prospect of being a telemarketer. That didn't sit well with me. I was really, really upset actually when they told me that, because that's not what I wanted my future to be. I did reach out to a local employment agency for help in finding employment, but unfortunately they weren't able to help me find anything. And so then, like I said, I put my focus back onto my physical recovery. I put all of my effort into my physical and mental health, and worried about the future later, because I luckily was in that space where I could do that. Next slide, please. So becoming an entrepreneur, this is something I really didn't think that I would be, but here we are. So I found my purpose through my journey of recovery. And my purpose being like, why was I paralyzed? Why am I on this planet, right? All of us have a purpose here. We're not just here willy-nilly, we all have a reason that we're here. And so I didn't know what mine was until about 4 years into my recovery, when, well, actually 1 year into my recovery, when I noticed that there was a no center here in Edmonton that provided activity-based training for people with neurologic conditions. And so I had traveled around to many other places to receive this therapy. And the results I saw were absolutely incredible. And so I knew there was something there. And I knew that that I was supposed to be the one to bring it here. And so, you know, that's how I kind of found like, that's what my purpose was. That's why I was paralyzed. I was paralyzed to bring a center here to Edmonton and to really bring Canada into the forefront of neurorecovery. I definitely did not do this on my own, and there's no way that I would ever take all the credit for this either. I found a business partner or a trainer, Nancy, who had wanted to do this kind of work her whole life, but she didn't know she could do it in Canada. Because this is such a new concept in Canada, there aren't very many centers here, but there are lots in the States, and there's actually a lot around the world as well. Together, we decided to become business partners in 2016 after she had received a full-time job offer from a place in Florida. And I was like, no, you can't go. I need you more. And so then she's like, hey, well, if I'm going to stay here, then we have to do something worthwhile. And that's when the universe was like, all right, ladies, now you're ready. Now you're ready for this big adventure that I have lined up for you. And so, you know, we just kind of rolled with it. We went through all the motions. We found a marketing agency, we found a law firm, we incorporated, and we really, like, neither of us had any experience in running a nonprofit or incorporating one or really any kind of business at all. So it was a very steep learning curve, but we're still on it right now. 5 years later, we're still on it. And I don't think that'll ever end. And that's okay. As things are always changing, and we should always be wanting to be better and to learn more. So we actually learned the most through making mistakes. And, you know, most business people will tell you that no, there's no such thing as failure. There's only lessons learned. And you can't have success without failures. And these failures could be anything, right? And so, like, we have made a bunch of mistakes with certain computer programs that we used, or just the way doing things. There's always room for improvement. And so by making these mistakes and learning from them, that's how we grow, and that's how we try to make our business successful. Next slide, please. Also, the pictures here, the first slide, sorry, that was me before I was paralyzed. That was the day before I was paralyzed. Picked on the second pages of our staff in 2018, and there was 4 of us. And so now on this slide, so that's Nancy. And what we say when we post this picture is like, find people who lift you up. right? Surround yourself with people who lift you up mentally, physically, spiritually. And Nancy does all of those for me and vice versa. So I often get asked, what advice do I have for people who are entrepreneurs or who are looking to start their own business? And my very first piece of advice is find a business partner who is opposite of you. Your strengths and their weaknesses should be opposite. And that's how Nancy and I are. She's very introverted and she's very super, super smart. But she doesn't like being, sorry, excuse me. She doesn't like public speaking. She doesn't like, being the face of the company. She wanted to do all the background stuff, which worked very well because I didn't want to do any of that background stuff. So I'm happy to be the face of it. And then, yeah, our strengths and weaknesses really balance each other out in many, many aspects. And we both really recognize that that is what makes us successful business partners, because we're not the same. And then find something that you're passionate about. And I know this is kind of cliche, people say this all the time, but I really mean it. Like, try different things. And if you're not something, if it doesn't spark that fuel in you, then mark that down as that's maybe not your passion, right? But go out and try different things and see, like, what is my passion? What does fuel, like, burn my fire? And like, what does make me want to get up out of bed every morning? Because when you're doing that, then you're not working. Like, every day I get up, I don't feel like I have to go to work. I just get to, like, go hang out with all of my friends while they work out, right? I get to be able to, like, make a difference in this world. And that's better than going to just a job. I highly recommend getting a business coach. I think we all need coaches in all aspects of our lives. Some of the very top like business CEO people of the world, they have business coaches, they have life coaches, they have nutrition coaches, and they have physical training coaches, right? So if these top level executives who are very, very successful, if they need help and if they need somebody to help guide them, what makes us any different, right? We're just regular people too. And because we don't have experience, we need the coaching even more. And I really recommend networking, right? Get yourself out there. In this right day and age of COVID, it's a little bit harder because there aren't a lot of in-person events, but there are a lot of online events. And I know you can find a lot of them through Eventbrite. Some are free, some are paid for, but I really recommend getting out there and telling people who you are, what you're doing, and what your ideas are. And then you'll be able to find these people who are willing to help and who want to help, and may likely do it at a reduced rate or maybe even for free. So working on yourself. I'm a big believer in personal development, simply because I've been doing it for the last 9 years, and I have changed so much, and I've really recognized a lot of my flaws and my areas that could use improvement. When you can't, like, the first step in changing anything is awareness. So you can't change anything until first you are aware of it, whether that's biases, stigma, stereotypes, whatever it is. You can't change it within yourself until you actually like, oh, I actually think this way. Why do I think this way? Or what's behind these feelings? Why am I feeling jealous? Why am I feeling angry? Why am I feeling these things? Even feeling happy and joy. Sometimes we have to ask ourselves, like, what's behind this? What is it that's making me actually happy right now? When you see those things and you dig deep into those areas of your life, you really notice your character at your true being. And sometimes this isn't easy to look at. It's sometimes you have to go through all that nasty, dirty stuff that all of us have as human beings, right? But it's going through that. Like I said, you can't change anything until you recognize it first. So I'm a big believer in personal development. And I think that's something that should be continued until we die. I also say to outsource all the tasks that you don't want to do. So for me personally, bookkeeping is not my jam. I am not a numbers person, but I do recognize that it is very, very important that these numbers are done correctly, right? And so both Nancy and I have said, we don't want to do it. So we outsource our bookkeeping, we outsource our accounting, our social media, things that we know are super important, but maybe we don't have enough time to do it, or that we're just not passionate about it. And so if you're doing something and you're trying to do everything in your business, things are going to fall through the cracks, and you really don't want it to be your finances or your books. So whatever you can outsource, definitely do so. Set your personal and professional boundaries. This is really important, and this works very well with the personal development side of things. Until you work on yourself and you recognize that, hey, these are my boundaries, and then enforce them, like, nothing's really going to work, and people will continue to take advantage of you because that's how people are designed. And I'm not saying all people, I'm making a big generalization here, right? But that's generally what happens is people will try to just do what they can to make themselves succeed. And so for us and everybody, we need to set our personal and professional boundaries. And then the biggest thing is enforcing them, right? Letting people know like, hey, actually you crossed a boundary that I have here and that's not acceptable. And doing it in a respectful and mindful way. Conflict doesn't always have to be bad. Conflict is going to arise all the time because all of us humans are so vastly different. And it's not something that should be, thought of in a negative light. I think a lot of good can come out of conflict. And so having those conflict resolution tools is really helpful too, but also just more importantly, setting those boundaries and enforcing them. And then this is my favorite one, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. If you are comfortable in your life, you are likely stagnant. And personally, I don't ever want to be stagnant because when we're stagnant, things get lost. And we're never striving to be more or do more or be better. And to me, that's just like not a good way to live. And so like change is inevitable, right? Change, our world is changing all the time. Our bodies are changing all the time. We are not the same person we were yesterday that we are today. So I don't understand why people have such a hard time wrapping their head around change when change is the only thing that has been happening since the minute you were conceived. So get used to it, right? Change your mindset around change. Stop telling yourself that I don't like change. I only like routine. And when my routine gets upset with change, I get upset. Change that mindset, right? I'm comfortable in my routine. I like having a routine. And if that routine changes from day to day, it's okay because I'm still going to be okay. And I'm still going to get everything done that I need to get done. It just might just look a little bit different. So always get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I think that's a big thing that people need to be talking about because there's too much stagnation, which is why Canada is in the dark ages when it comes to a lot of things. So let's get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Next slide, please. Somebody needs to press mute. It might be the background noise from here too. I'm sorry. It's not a very echoey space. I'll try to speak louder. So here there are a couple of agencies to help with employment. Okay, sorry about that. So there are a couple of agencies to help with employment. There is Prospect Agency and they are based out of Calgary, but they do have an office here. And I actually only found out about them 2 years ago, but they do help entrepreneurs with disabilities set up their businesses. So even if you just have an idea, or even if you don't even have an idea and you're like, I know I'm meant to run a business, but I don't know what it is, definitely reach out to Prospect because they can help you find your idea, mold it, and then provide you with the support you need to really get that idea off the ground. I really wish I had known about them when we were starting Renew because I think they would have saved us a lot of heartache and a lot of headache in our journey, but things are happen the way they're supposed to happen, so that's okay. Another agency is Employabilities, and they do help a lot of people with medical conditions to help find meaningful employment. And so I'm really grateful that this agency is available for people in Alberta, and they have done a great job to find meaningful employment for people who are looking for it. And just to throw it in there, I did forget to add this to the slide, but Business Link or Futurepreneur is also a really great resource. They put on webinars almost every week, and they have a lot of programs and stuff to help with your setting up your business. And the ATB Entrepreneur Center, ATB as a bank does a lot to help Alberta businesses. Before, when we were looking for a bank to open our accounts with, I went and I called all of the big banks and I asked them, what can you do for me? And all of them were like, nothing. We're going to charge you interest. We're going to charge you all these fees for your bank accounts and stuff. And then ATB was like, oh, well, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. We have this program, we have the booster program, we have workshops and webinars to help you, all of these things. And so I was like, okay, easy choice. So we went with ATB, and the ATB Entrepreneur Center on, I think it's on Calgary Trail here, is a great space. They have, you can actually rent out like an office space if you need to book office time. And like I said, they have webinars and workshops that they put on a lot, all the time. Next slide, please. And this is us. So this has been the progression of our team. It started with 2 and then went to 4 and then to 6 and then to 8 and now we're at 12. And it's been an absolute incredible journey and we're not even close to being done yet. We have giant plans and we're going to accomplish those goals as well. We're planning to change the world here and we're doing it one mind at a time. And I am super, super grateful for all of the success that we have had. And you know, if anybody has any questions or wants to talk more about the entrepreneur journey and how, like, the mistakes that I made and stuff, I'm more than happy to chat further about that. And I just want you to know, if you have the idea to start a business, do it. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for next Monday. Don't wait for next week. Just do it. Get off your chair and just do it. Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much, Bean, and thank you again, Cal. So let's discuss. This is open to everyone who wants to ask questions, share their experience. Please feel free to use the chat box as well.
I'll just start it off. Thank you guys for your journeys and your conversation there. It definitely opens your minds, makes you think back about everybody's journeys, whether you're injured or not. You know, I went to university and I just thought it was the route that you go. That's the only way to go. And and quickly realized after I got my degrees and everything that, man, there's thousands of other ways to go. There's all these people that had these amazing jobs that didn't go to university, that worked in the workforce, volunteered, did a bunch of different things and got a bunch of experiences. When I broke my neck, I went back to do what I went to school for. I went back to be a teacher. I wanted to be a phys ed teacher. And I had this new body and a job that I went to school learning differently. I was able-bodied through my entire university experience and teaching experience. And now I was in a wheelchair and I wasn't liking it. I didn't like teaching anymore. It wasn't fun for me anymore because I wasn't getting to do it the way I wanted to do it. And so I had a hard time for a little while. I didn't know what to do because for now 5 years I tried to become a teacher. The big thing that I did and what Bean kept bringing up is, you know, you got to keep moving forward. You got to keep changing. You got to develop yourself. So for me, my journey went to volunteering. I figured, you know, if I volunteer, I can set my own hours. I don't have to worry about a boss telling me what to do. And I learned very quickly that I learned it helped me with my injury. I learned how to be at a workplace with an injury, you know, dealing with bladder things or accessibility things and what worked, what didn't work for myself. And also it helped me start slowly learning things I like doing. I'm like, well, I like doing that. I'm going to see if I can volunteer with somebody doing this. And I started making my own hours and started joining and then networking and getting to know a bunch of people. And then in doing that, by knowing those people, a job opens up and somebody gives you a shout and says, hey, I think you'd be great at this. You know, if you stay at home and try to educate yourself, it's good, but you still need to get out. You still need to meet people. And that's the big thing with working for me, is meeting people and getting to know people again. It just helps your soul. It helps you as a person. And I always thought that was one of the most important things for me when I was trying to get back into the workforce, you know, finding that purpose, finding people again. So that was great, my journey.
Sorry,
Yeah, I really like.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Bean. Oh, okay, I will go ahead then. Sorry, I can't turn my camera on right now, but I would like to say that I think that's something that an individual with, you know, a physical disability or any disability goes through is there going to be any sort of a judgment when I go in for an interview? You know, should I put that I have a disability on my resume? I think that these are all barriers that we face because ultimately we don't want to be judged because we have a disability. So for me, thinking about someone with a disability in their confidence. I think this might be the biggest barrier that would come up for someone when trying to find a job. Doesn't matter what it is, educated or not. That is a barrier. So even to, myself going into an interview to an organization where there was no one else with a physical disability, I really used my disability as an asset, because to their organization or their business, I felt that I was coming in as an asset to them, because they had never had someone with a disability in there. So I could really do something for them as well. And I think going in with that sort of a mindset really does help as well. Don't look at something being a barrier, but yeah, look at yourself being an asset. And for myself, I never disclosed that I was in a wheelchair. I had a physical disability on my resume. I just made sure that when I was offered an interview, I did call the place to make sure that they were wheelchair accessible and would meet the needs. And then if they were at that time to ask me if I was in a wheelchair, well, yes, I am. But other than that, it doesn't matter if I'm in a wheelchair or not. I'm going to the interview just like anyone else is. So yeah, that's just what I have to say.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Brandis. I think the way like we approach situations is the way people approach us too, right? So if you are approaching any kind of employment situation thinking that, oh, well, they're going to think I'm a burden, they're going to think I'm a liability, and blah, blah, blah. Whether you say it or not, you're going to be projecting that. And then that's how they might reciprocate that, right? But I really like what you said about your mindset of having an asset mindset, being I'm an asset, I'm not a burden to your company. I'm actually bringing something to you. I can bring diversity to you. And this is something, since 2020, diversity has been there's been a big spotlight on minorities, right? People with disabilities are the biggest minority in the world. So why are we not taking advantage of this? There's big shift in media representation. And there's been a lot more employers who are saying, hey, we are equal opportunity employers. We need diversity on our team. And so now they're looking for people who have disabilities or who are darker skin or who are a quote unquote minority, right? And so let's take advantage of this because right now they need us. And we do, we are that diversity that they need. I also think if you go into a job interview or whatever with a solution-based mindset, you'll have a better reaction from them. So I know a lot of people worry about physical accessibility to any kind of employment, right? So are there stairs? Are there any push buttons? Is there an elevator? Is there an accessible bathroom? I mean, luckily in Alberta here, there is the DRES program, Disability Related Employment Services Program, which is a grant that will pay for either vehicle adaptations or adaptations to a new employment place that you're working if it's not accessible. So there are supports available, if you qualify and stuff. So I think we really do need to take advantage of these things while they're here, because who knows how many more cuts are coming down the line. But we still do have these programs. And so I think we need to take advantage of them. And the only way we're going to change the mindset of the able-bodied world is by us as people with disabilities going into the able-bodied world and showing them, hey, we're regular people. We are contributing members of society. We are not a burden on anybody. We can take care of ourselves. And whether you need a healthcare aide or somebody with you, it doesn't matter. You're still valuable and you're still able to provide a service to any employer. And so we need to flip that script and we need to go in there, like what you said, Brandis, with an asset and a solution-focused mindset.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm just going from the experiences, and what I know a lot of people have dealt with is when you get injured, you're now trying to figure yourself out again. You take a good few years off. Some people take, 1 year, some people take 10 years off trying to figure their injury out and get their life back and just a normal thing. But the problem is the longer that time goes, you start building this wall that you need to break down. I remember there was a good 3 years there where I wasn't volunteering, I wasn't doing different things. And I started I would have Indeed up and I would see all these jobs and I would look at what they can do and I would decide I can't do that. Or I needed to do an interview and I started getting scared and fear and I just started giving up. And because you just decide you can't do it. I luckily had somebody behind me pushing me, but not everybody has that, and that's what these programs are great for. You know, you can't become a good interviewer if you don't go to interviews or have somebody help you practice doing interviews. I finally started applying for jobs that I knew I wasn't going to get, but you need that fear, the fear of somebody asking you questions about yourself, so that you learn not only how to respond to those questions, but start understanding what it is about yourself that you need to work on. And that's what's so great about these programs, and the fact that they have them to help us is amazing, because it's very lonely and very hard on your own. And so bringing up all these things in with Cal, I really hope a lot of people are able to utilize these services.
I totally agree. Cal, actually, I have a question for you with respect to the employability workshops. What does that actually consist of? Can you describe that a little bit more?
The mentorability one or employability?
Employability.
What our workshops? We have the workshops we offer, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, we do everything from interviewing skills, resume development. We do skills, values. They're all done through Zoom workshops at the present time. We've been doing that for the last year. But we're going through a process and stuff now where we're almost going to gear towards, do we continue doing them on Zoom or not? So it's a lot of it and stuff is one-on-one. We got people that go out and do like today and stuff. We got people that are doing assessments with hotels kind of thing, that you want to be a room attendant kind of thing. So we can actually arrange those partnerships or those things to do, to see what people are really interested in. But along with what Dean was saying with the DRES program, the Alberta government right now has another program called Alberta Jobs Now, and where they're really encouraging employers to actually have wage subsidies. They'll subsidize a person's wage up to a year and stuff for that person to go into that position with the guarantee that that job continues after the wage subsidy is run out. So that's another program that deals on the DRES program as well. So just wanted to throw that one out. Did that answer your question or no?
Absolutely. Thanks, Cal. Mika made a comment in the chat box here. Mika, did you want to share that online with everybody, or would you like me to read it out? I think you're still muted.
It's okay to share that if you'd like to with everyone. One of the points that adds to this was that because I'd waited, I was out of the workforce for 13 years and I was able to get back to work after volunteering. I had had a couple jobs, but they weren't a good fit. This way I was able to find a fit by volunteering for on-the-job training. And it reestablished me in a new community that I'm still using connections from that job now in what I do. And that was 20 years ago that I had that job for. So that was really incredible. And one of the challenges as we get older and as our bodies break down, then it's harder to find jobs that fit. So when we can volunteer a little bit, it makes a difference for what we're able to do with a new employer.
Thank you, Mika. Edgar?
Hello, everybody. I would just like to reiterate some of what Bean said about if you're passionate about what you do, or if you have a vocational assessment and they key on something that interests you or that you've had in your past, go for it. Get up out of your bed and get into your chair and roll over to your laptop and start doing what you feel you need to do to get where you want to be. I was fortunate that in that I already had a small business when I was injured. So I knew all about the benefits of working for yourself versus working for someone else. But she made a few really good key points. ATB helped me when I was prior to my injury, start my business, run on my receivables and go from there. And then after I was injured, when I started consulting, they were there again. And like being said, with their programs and services, it's incredible the amount that the bank did for me that I would have had to learn to do again by myself. So just get up and go. If you have a passion for something, even if you don't know a lot about it, find out about it, find the resources, and take the courses and just go for it.
Thanks,
And then
Edgar.
quit it all and go work for a nonprofit, because that's where your real passion is, when you help people.
Thanks, Edgar. Beto, I think I saw your hand up.
Yep, yeah, I have my hand. So thank you very much for the great presentation and discussion. As a health provider, this really strikes a chord on me, because I see this, and this is a constant question that I have as a clinician, and I think all of clinicians share that, is that when you are servicing people with spinal cord injury, you really are thinking of what's next, right? So what's next with this person in here? And it's so frustrating that we don't have a clear understanding of what could be next, right? So attending to spaces like this is fundamental. I really hope that more health providers will join to this Alberta SCILS and to these specific topics, because that's what we need. We need to learn first that there is a life outside of what we experience in our limited spaces in the clinic, but also we need to start thinking about how to help the situation. One of the things that have led me personally to ask the question about returning to work for people with SCI, for people that I serve, is that, of course, I go and I look at the research, right? And there is research now that is clear, like experimental research that found in the States that having a strong vocational rehabilitation program, which is integrated in the multidisciplinary kind of care of people with spinal cord injury, it's highly effective, not only to assure employment, but to assure satisfactory employment, because that's one of the things that they measure, and also to keep it and maintain it. So my question here for you guys, for Cal and Bean and Edgar and Terry and everyone else that has had and gone through this journey of getting back to work after an injury, is first, do you feel that we need a specific vocational rehabilitation program for spinal cord injury, assuming that people with spinal cord injury has unique needs that may not be shared with other populations going through disabilities? And my second question is, do you think you guys are, like, most specifically for Cal, are you guys integrated in some fashion with the rest of the teams? I mean, the healthcare teams and the community organization teams in an integrated way, so we can do something as has been, or this has been doing. This has been done as has been described in the States. I'm really curious, because as a clinician, I don't see it, but maybe I'm totally wrong and I'm missing something here.
Yeah, from my point of view and stuff, the organization that I work with we're one of 11 different employment agencies here in Calgary that deal with, assisting individuals with disabilities. Our programs and stuff are, like I said, we have two streams. One for people who are the PDD program, persons with developmental disabilities. And then we have the Service Canada one, which is totally integrated. So during our program and stuff, especially during the Zoom meetings and stuff as well, because we have the degree of people who have various types of disabilities, is really beneficial, especially in a Zoom setting, where everybody gets to learn off of each other and you get the feedback. Now, for some reason stuff, we found that during the Zoom meetings, people are a little bit more open to conversing and having a conversation. It's just not as threatening, whereas if you're in a classroom setting. So we found that, but we also feed off of integrated service provider committee meetings as well. So here in Calgary, we have the IAEC, it's the Interagency Employment Committee, which is virtually every nonprofit in the city can actually have representatives that go on the monthly meetings. So if even like yourself and stuff, wherever you are and stuff, you can actually join these meetings and get the feedback from all the different employment agencies within the city. So if you like afterwards and stuff, I'll forward the information on to Zara and stuff, and she can actually provide you with a link, and you can actually contact Stuart at that or get your get invited to those. Also with Disability Employment Awareness Month, which is in October, we do a lot of stuff that's happening during that whole month. Everything from panel discussions to this year, we're really focusing big on diversity and inclusion. So we're going to be going out and lighting up different stuff and really highlighting the importance of inclusive employers. We give out awards every year and stuff during that month and stuff as well. So there's a lot of really networking that goes along, not only within your own staff, within your own organization, but how do you get referrals and stuff to other organizations as well. So, and then in the past and stuff, there has been SCI, or actually CPA at that time, did have a formal vocational program here in Calgary and stuff as well. But I think due to funding restraints and those, leading staffing restraints and stuff, those programs were no longer offered. But there is, I know that there is proposals that have been developed and stuff in the past for SCI and stuff to actually get funding, so they could probably go into their archives and dig out those proposals, update them, and actually submit proposals for funding to get a formal vocational program if you want funding within SCI. Or you can simply do what we're doing now, is using the existing resources that are out in the community to everybody's benefit.
Hey Cal, sorry to cut you off. We're going to get cut off real quick here. We won't be able to do our poll, but just to remind everybody that next week I'll be throwing on another chat to continue the conversation. So if anybody, thank you, Zara. So if anybody wants to jump on that next Monday at 12 to 1, and we can talk about more experiences or questions you have. I'm hoping to have some of these speakers join us as well. So here's the Zoom ID, but we'll be putting on our social media again to so you can find it later in the week. Please join us on Facebook and Instagram to find that. So yeah, I just wanted to join that in because 1 o'clock is when we jump off. So.
And just a quick reminder that this will be available on YouTube in a couple of days. So if you know of anybody that missed today's webinar, please feel free to share that information with them. And the post-webinar chat will be on Monday, July 19th. And there is a new Zoom ID, which will also be sent out on social media as well. I'd like to thank everybody that joined us today. Have a wonderful afternoon and see you guys all in a month. Take care.